Hi everyone, my last part of putting together my Christmas journal. So I've got a load of things ready. So the cover, I've went on and I've put on some texture paste, decided I wanted a few more trees down the bottom, and I put on a nameplate just so when it's stood in my bookcase I can see what it is. So I've got the insides, everything's done as per the last video. So that one's that. I've got my signatures. I'm only putting in 5 signatures in this one. So I've got them, they're all pegged up so my pages don't move. And I've got my book cloth done, which to save time I have actually cut it to size. So I've cut it, I don't know, I always make mine around 6 and then trim it down 6 across because I have 1.75" spine, and it gives me enough room then to glue it into the actual book itself. And I've cut it 8.25", which is the length of my papers. Now the other thing I've done is made myself a template because I've got 5 signatures. I've made a template on, there we go, on graph paper. And I've marked on where I want the 5 signatures. So then I need to I tape it on because I'm rubbish, it keeps moving. So I need it roughly, I don't know, somewhere in the middle. And I just tape it down onto my board. Now what I forgot to say was I've actually scored it so I can see where my signatures go. So I've scored it, so I've got 1.75" actually in the middle-ish, maybe. And then this one, because I know where my middle is, because I've folded it up, I'm going to line it up, hopefully, with that number 10 there. And the same at the bottom. And then, I mean, oh boy, if I was confident enough to just go ahead and do it, not an issue, but I'm not, because I make mistakes when I start rushing. Right, all big darning needle. Oh, what's the other one? The things you use for poking holes in wood before you actually put a screw in. Now I haven't actually got mine quite central. I've got a bit more gap at the back to allow for expansion. Right, done. Take that off. I will need that because I will fold it up and use it for the signatures. So I've got the holes are all in the same place. Now what I find is the holes are very fine, so I just quickly make go back through, because I'm only doing it onto this. If you were doing it onto foam, you'd probably go through deeper and then wouldn't need to do this step. This is a very quick version. I'll link below videos I've done with a lot more in-depth stuff. The trick for me is actually seeing where I've poked the holes. Done. I did actually mark what was the top as well, so that I get them lined up. Right, that's ready to sew. Now, to save time, I have threaded needles, and so I've got 5 signatures. I've threaded 5 needles, and they are actually 3 times the length of my longest page. So 3 times that length, and that's what I use because I do a 5-hole signature. Now, I have already punched out the other ones. I will do a quick flip through of this. It's nothing, I haven't put any lace in them because it's going to be, I've signed up to do an art journal course. I use pegs because it helps stop it moving. I've signed up to do like an Advent art course, so 24 prompts, 24 techniques, and I'm hoping to combine a normal Christmas journal with the art course. I thought it would be fun to see if I can actually progress my art. Right, poked it all through. I use pegs to hold them together because then when I come to sew it up, it's a lot quicker. Right, so I've got the top. Now I always start at the back. This is my back signature. This is my last signature. You do whatever you're comfortable with. For me, and because I don't have the threads showing in the middle, so I start from the back. But there again, whatever works for you. I get told off for saying, well, this is how I do it. So I don't do that anymore. Right, I will show you this one and then speed it up so you get, otherwise this video is going to take forever because it does sometimes take me forever. Ow. Yeah, when they say there's blood, sweat and tears and something. Oh yes. So it's just a plain pamphlet stitch. So, all my threads are getting caught up. A plain pamphlet stitch, except I've done 5 holes instead of 3. That one, I do it. It's a personal choice simply because I know I've caught all the little bits that I've got in here, all the different size pages. Right. At this stage, I just pull it to make sure I've got it reasonably tight. Where's the centre? There we go. So take the peg out, make it a bit easier. Now at this stage I've normally got it between my knees, trying to pull it, making sure I've got everything quite tight. They look okay. I just go under, because this is wax thread I'm using, it does tend to hold. And then my personal preference is for a double knot, which is what I've just done. Oh, listen to that rain. if you were finishing them off on the inside, then you tie your, yeah, that's quite tight. Perhaps a bow or some little dangle things. Right, I am gonna be quiet now while I sew in the rest of the signatures, speed it up, and I will see you when I've finished it off. Oops. Right, there we go. I have my signatures sewn in. Like I said, only 5 weeks. That's what I'm intending on keeping this journal for. Not very full at the moment, but by the time I've added all this art journaling stuff in, all my photos, I've already got a load of stuff to go in this. Right, I have got somewhere, yeah, there we go. I just had some gauze cheesecloth. I've distressed it top and bottom. I glue this on, it just makes, for me, it makes it look a little bit, I like it. That's what I do. Right, I have Fabri-Tac, because as much as I hate this glue, it is quite quick drying, and I just want to make sure I can, near enough instant grab. I probably put on miles too much, but There was a chef I watched once that said never knowingly undercated when they were preparing food. So for me, never knowingly underglued, as in it's not moving. Right, distressing. So this is sort of going down the middle. Let's try and keep those tables inside. Oh no, there are far better ways of doing it. Okay, I just fold the top over so I've got a bit of a... Bring that back into focus. And the bottom. The wooden block I've got that I punch my signatures and anything else that needs doing. A book cradle, I think they're called. Now I actually got that one off Etsy, and somebody else asked about it a while ago, and the company isn't working anymore. But I have noticed that Andrea Allen from Artie Mays has just advertised them on her website. I don't think it's on the Etsy site. I think it's on her actual website, which is artiemays.com. I'm sure I saw some on there. Not exactly the same as that, but they do the same job. So head over there if you can't find one. Like that. I've got to leave that to dry now before I can assemble. Let's get rid of all the excess glue that I've wasted. And that then will sort of fit in my signature. Right, I've curved it as it's drying to hopefully fit inside the spine. So I'm going to let this dry. Stick it over the end of the bench so I don't get glue on everything. And I will be back as soon as this is dry. Okay, time to put it all together. So that is now dry. I have my cover. What works for me is I put, this is a 1/4 inch score tape, and I just run it down there, and it gives me a bit of grab while I'm fitting in. Perhaps not so important when you're with a flat spine, but I find that this really helps me with a curved spine anyway. Right, what I'm looking to do is line up. So I want it roughly... It's alright, I've normally got this at all angles all over my desk when I'm doing it. It is a little more challenging with the camera. My score marks, I am looking to line up on the inside. So there are two edges to the spine. You've got the actual spine, and then you've got the gap, and then you've got the front cover. So I can see that that one is on a slant. So if I turn it, and then at the back, so trying to hold it in place, and that one looks to be about right as well. So I've lined up the score mark there. It's not going to show on the camera because if I move it I'm going to lose where I am. So my way of doing it, I close it up, I get holding it in that place, I peel off that, and then I close it up and press it on there, and hopefully that's held it. And repeat the process. Not rocket science, but it really is trying to find a thing that works for you. And this is what works for me. So now I have my signatures stuck firmly in place. Now this bit's personal preference. You could put score tape all along, you could do whichever you want. I use my very trusty art glue. I do try and... This bit, these bits here don't show when you put your end papers on. So if you do happen to get glue where it shouldn't be, it shouldn't show. To be honest, you probably might not need as much of an overhang as this. It's what I've done. It's what I do. I do try different ways of doing it, but then find I end up coming back. Right, that bit's not got enough glue in there. I do want it nice and flat, simply because when you put your end papers on, you're going to end up with a bump otherwise. Okay, that's the back done. Oops. I did take the opportunity to make myself a coffee. Needs a bit extra. I'm not a fan of this thin board, but it flexes too much. But like I was saying the other day, or whenever you've watched this video in the first part, I've run out of my normal thick board. I normally use 2mm thick book board. I find that this flexes a bit. Done. Right, front and back. Sometimes I put on a hitch fastener here and a ribbon, an eyelet on the back, but because I don't want anything sticking out of the picture, I've got some sari silk to keep it closed. I was thinking, ooh, Christmas type sari silk. Right, I need to find the middle. So I know that mine is 4 3/8 is the middle of my size. Now that sari silk is 1.25 inches, so I'm actually going to mark it 1.5 inches. So I know that it's got to go, and then hit really, and then glue to your heart's content. I do put a lot on, as I've said. I don't want them coming undone. Okay, let's put that in the middle. Little sticky bits. Oh, got it stuck. Okay, Try that again. I find as my fingers become stickier, it starts to lift everything. Okay, that's what same for the back. Yeah, 1, 2, 3. I'm just taking it to where I think my end papers are going to go. I don't think there is a right and a wrong side to this. I ordered a load of fabric off eBay the other day. I'm going to make tablecloths for Christmas. Or a tablecloth on the runner. I fancy something different this year. And we have an odd sized oval table. And this reminded me of that. I thought, hey, yep, we'll go for that. Right, I have 2 end papers that I've already cut, and I've actually distressed the edges of these ones, and then they will fit on there. So please fast forward to the end if you're not into the gluing bit. This is super thick, well no, not super thick, it's in the UK 220 GSM photo paper, so gives me a really nice print. That's what I do on my my signature, the covers each first page of a signature with. Gives superb colour. I am actually just got to put a load of glue on that to keep it in place. Make sure I've got the right one. Okay. And to make sure I've got it up the right way. And press. Like that. I couldn't make my mind up what to have in it, so I thought, well, plain paper-ish. Okay. So one slightly different, same type of thing, but whereas the back page is an image of an old envelope, this one is just plain paper. Some of this on here. Line it up. I haven't added, I've done some stitching to this journal, but I haven't actually added any lace to it, any trims, figuring This one I am going to not sew, obviously I can't sew them in now that I've assembled it all, but perhaps glue some trims in, and I thought it might be nice to save some of the bits that the kids are always making Christmas stuff, and to take some of their reject pieces and make trims up with them. Right, I have, excuse me for leaning over, this little chap, which I am going to add to the front. Bear with me. Who started off, oh, see, I keep breaking them, as one of those. I bring him up. It's a silicone mould and some air dry clay. And I painted him in Maya Gold. Now I did actually break this one's leg. I have managed to fix it. But it's so flipping delicate, this. Because the mould is a cheap one. And it's from China, I'm guessing. Now, he's going to need something to keep him in place. So, making sure I'm on camera. How much time? Yeah. I'm going to put him in a bit of a snowdrift. I'll cut it bigger than I need it. This is just lint at the first aid box. So it's very open weave, infinitely malleable, as in you could move it around to your heart's content. Now what all I want to do is actually follow the lines that I've painted on. I'm thinking something like that. Quite like that. Okay. So if I start sticking on glue, and yes, I tend to use this glue for most things. And then once I've got a basic shape, then I can go back in and add more glue as I need to. Oh, excuse me. Oh, the joy of kids in winter. Now this little chappie is going to sit in the snow. I'm thinking something like that. Now I use multi-medium. There we go. I'm sticking him on because it's tissue. Because I find my glue gun doesn't really hold it. I also need to just make sure that this lot is stuck. This will just keep it in place and give the deer a better base. And it dries clear, so it's not really going to show. It will be obviously stiff at where I've put this stuff on, but it saves it all moving around. Okay. I'm going to lie him down. Yep, I'm in shot. And I am just going to brush him all over. Okay, let's try that. Okay, let's put a bit of glue on where we messed it up. Middle of it. There, I think. I'm very careful because I have snapped the leg off already. Get off a bit of excess glue I have on there. Now this will take a while to dry. It's not instant like normal glue, but I know that that's not going anywhere. So there we have it, my Christmas book. I might need those bits actually. Quite like that. Or maybe not. Don't know. Gonna follow that round. I won't do a flip through now. I will do a flip through. I have used 3 kits in this. It is all very different because I'm going to use it for kids, for my art course, well, my art sort of advent course. Yeah, it'd be quite interesting. I will, I think, come and show this next week when I've started to fill this up and we can go through it together. Right, you take care now. I hope you found it useful and I will speak to you all later. Bye.